welcome to the KTRX online mini-series. My name is Tom, and as always, I'll be your commentator. You join us here for round 3 at Hockenheim Ring in Germany with the makeshift rallycross circuit based within the actual circuit itself. It has been announced that due to popular demand, the series has been extended to 8 rounds from the original 4. Brands Hatch will be still at the final at round 8 and will be replaced in round 4 by Lowiak, then to Daytona in America, Dirtfish also in America, and then back to Scotland for Nokia on round 7, and then to Brands Hatch at the finale. Okay then, it's Q1 Heat 1 with Joe Burrows on the front row of the grid with Heathy in the, just as coming into shot there. There's Darren and Tom in the background, and the guys go around into the first corner. Heathy goes quite wide, and Tom and Darren seem to get together, and there's Heathy who's collected Joe Burrows' tyres flying everywhere. So Tom and Darren are just about coming in now, and Heathy has taken the lead but has spun round, so that's Tom into the lead and Darren is just behind him, and the two of them are side by side, and they've really slowed through the next corner. It's a very tight twisty circuit. It's difficult to overtake on this, and there's an extremely tight hairpin here. So Tom now leads as he gets past Darren on the oh, that's Joe Burrows getting to the back of Darren, and so the guys here are really still getting used to the circuit layout, and hopefully getting round with as little contact as possible, but what we've seen so far has not quite been the case. So Tom still leads then as he goes on to lap 2 of 4. The laps are being put down back down to 4 laps after 6 at Hell due to the increase in the grid size, and because we've got more than enough cars, the heats will be split. So Tom's still leading then. Darren is still in second. Heathy is now up to third. Joe Burrows is at the back, but not too far behind, and actually everyone seems to be quite close now. And as you can see, Tom and Darren having a good race here, and that's Heathy going extremely tight through there, and no doubt he'll get a penalty for that as they all go through the Joker lap, and there's a tyre wall which doesn't move, unfortunately. Joe Burrows has already taken his Joker lap, maybe, and so he gets back into third as Heathy now goes to the back. So Tom and Darren still scrapping out in first and second, and that's Joe Burrows, who seems to have gone off into the gravel somehow there. Can Darren get past Tom here? Both of them still to sorry, no, they just went through their Joker lap. We just did see them, so both of them have done their Joker laps, and there's Darren turning the car on the spot. And as you can see, this is why it's so tight, is all those hairpins, tight corners. We are just coming round to the end of lap 3 here. Tom's still leading. Left, right, constantly turning. Oh, Darren hits the tyre wall and he spun it. So Darren is not going to take the win in this heat by any means, and he is struggling. Looks like he's struggling to get into reverse. He gets spun round, and so Darren now is under threat from Heathy, who hits the barrier, and that spins him round. So Darren somehow manages to keep his second position out of all of that, as Tom now under no pressure whatsoever has got all the space and the time in the world to finish the lap. Oh, and he goes into the wall. There's a mistake there from Tom, but I think he's going to get away with it. Very lucky too, as long as the car isn't damaged too much. He comes round the last few bends, and he's going to cross the line here to take first in the first heat for Q1. But we'll see obviously how the others do in heat 2, because with the heats now split, it'll come down to the fastest times rather than position. So as much as Tom won the race, he might not have been the quickest. Heathy's going to come away with it. Oh, Heathy and Joe Burrows getting together right at the end there. Let's look at this incident again then with Darren, and he's just too too much power into the corner there, and the contact was enough to actually spin the car facing the wrong way, and then he struggles to get into reverse. Tom gets the win in the heat then, with Darren in second. Heathy finishes just ahead of Joe Burrows, but of course we have to wait for heat 2 to find out the final positions for the qualifier. Q1 heat 2 then. Mike Kuipers, Rob Pellet and Harry Cook. 3 cars on the grid and away they go. Oh, and Mike and Rob get together, but they actually still manage to get round the first corner, as Harry has now got some good speed and he gets beside Rob into turn 2, but it looks like he's gone way too wide into the corner, and actually Rob goes with him, and so Mike Kuipers takes the lead then in the Renault Megane, and as you can see the front bumper has already disappeared off of that Renault, and so Rob is just about getting round as oh, that's Harry Cook going really wide, and Rob is struggling to get round as well. So this is all playing into the hands of Mike Kuipers then, who still leads. And so Mike, as much as he slightly went off in the first instances of this race, oh, he's getting that bit wrong and reversing into the barriers. Slow on the exit, so that's allowed Rob to get into the lead, so Rob Pellet takes the lead then. And so it's a little bit messy this race so far, but the three of them are together quite closely now. A really tight left hand hairpin and then a really tight right hand hairpin. Contact there with Harry, it seems like, who's just behind Mike. And oh, really close as they go round that left-hander, but Rob has gone and taken his Joker lap, so he slots in behind Harry. Oh, there's contact, massive contact. Rob way too quick out of his Joker lap and smashes into Harry. So we'll have another look at that, and that has definitely put a different spin on things. So Rob goes into his Joker lap, tight left-hander, tight right-hander, and as you will see in a second, Mike and Harry come out of the exit of the normal lap, and unfortunately Rob goes into the back of Harry. Let's go on board with Harry then, as he's got Mike Kuipers in front of him, and in a second, bang, as the contact. So Rob leads after some heavy contact with Harry. But I wonder if they will look at that. And it looks like Rob is waiting for Harry to go past. And he does. So on board now with with Mike. As Harry still struggles to get around those corners in a quick way, as Mike has, it pretty much suits Mike's driving style with his drifting, and as I say that, he hits the tyre wall, and just like Darren, he's struggling to get into reverse gear to face the right way. He managed to spin the car, so it is really messy this race. We're on to the last lap, and in the lead then is Harry Cook for the first time in his first event in the Ford Focus for Team Redeem. Harry, unfortunately late to the series, as he couldn't make the first 2 events, but it's good to see Team Redeem as a 2-car team again. So Harry nice and comfortably leading this race now, but without any doubt it has been full of contact, and it may be looked at. So it comes around the last right-hander and the last left-hander as Harry Cook wins Heat 2. Rob Pellet is going to come away. Oh, right next to Mike, but he still gets it. Rob is second, and Mike Kuipers gets third. In the end, Tom was still quickest in Heat 1, so gets the maximum 10 points. But Harry in Heat 2 was second quickest, so gets 9 points. Then it was Rob, then Mike Kuipers, then Darren Parker, Heathy, and then Joe Burrows was the slowest. Q2 Heat 1 then. Tom on the front row with Harry, Mike and Rob at the back, and away they go into turn 1. And it's quite a careful affair after slightly chaotic first few heats. My mistake, sorry, it is actually Rob at the front, so Tom is at the back so far. Oh, that's a mistake from Harry. And Mike slightly makes a little bit of contact with Tom, but Harry and Mike get together. And so on board with Harry here. Look how close Harry gets to the back of Tom as Rob is making some good progress at the front. Oh, he gets the hairpin slightly wrong, and in actual fact has slowed him to the point where he's going to be forced to take the joker lap, and Harry's going to take the lead here. And so Harry continues to lead. Tom is now second. Rob is very close behind with Mike Kuipers at the back. And as you can see in the background, that's Harry who's gone off into the gravel, so he's got that corner wrong. And he's struggling to get back on the circuit, so the four of them close up quite closely here. And look how close it is. Oh, that's Tom who's gone round. So Tom's going to have to settle for last. Oh, contact with Mike and Rob as well. So unfortunately the close racing's come to a slight end here, as Harry has been given a bit of a free ride up the front to take that lead even further, as Harry takes his joker lap and actually closes up with Mike now. There's Tom as well. Rob's just a bit further behind after contact with Mike. This is great racing. That's super close. So Harry still continues to lead. Tom and Mike getting really close together. There's some very, very different racing styles here going on, and that's Harry who makes contact with the tyre wall but gets away with it. Mike looking really, really racy. Wants to make an attack potentially, and it's really difficult to overtake in the twisty section, and the best chance you have of overtaking it around these first two turns here, as Tom makes a bit of a dive on the inside and has to still slot in behind for third. Harry, who's been running wide a lot, and he does it again, and he's made a mistake and he's gone into the gravel, so Harry doesn't learn from his mistakes. And that's allowed Mike to go into the lead. So Mike leads, Tom is second, but very, very close. Tom goes wide, hits the wall, tries to get the good exit. And it could be a great finish here. There's Tom and Mike. Oh, Tom takes a really wide line. But Mike gets first. Tom is second. Harry is going to come away with third. A great race there between Tom and Mike. Harry was involved as well. It's a shame that Rob wasn't too involved, but finishes at the back. Mike Kuipers takes the heat win then, with Tom in second, Harry in third, and Rob in fourth. Okay then, Q2, Heat 2 then. Joe Burrows is on the front row at a grid with Darren and Stephen Heath on the back. And away they go. And Darren gets the inside, gets to move. Oh, there's a bit of contact there from them. Heathy, who goes way too quick into the corner. Darren and Joe nearly get together. Heathy and Joe get together. Oh, but there's more contact. That's a big accident between Heathy and Joe Burrows. And Joe, the tiniest of contact, and nearly takes out Darren. So Darren takes the lead in this really, really chaotic start for the second heat in Q2. So Heathy is up to second. Joe Burrows is back down to the back. And it'll be interesting to see whether Joe and Heathy have words afterwards, as they've already been together in some contact in the previous races. So the contact continues. And oh, that's Heathy rolling again. So Heathy is facing the wrong way, and he can see more sky than he can the track, unfortunately. And so that's Joe Burrows and Stephen Heath really coming together in what seems to be some kind of some tension there, maybe. And all this is basically going into the hands of Darren, as he's got all the space in the world to get some quick lap times in and to get the maximum points in this heat, as the two of them squabble behind. So let's watch this again with Heathy as he goes into the Joker lap here. Joe Burrows goes through the normal lap, and the two collide together in the next corner, which flips Heathy over. Huge accident. Watching it from Joe Burrows here. In a second you'll see Heathy come out last minute from the Joker lap. So Darren goes into his Joker lap then. A tight left-hander, tight right-hander. Joe Burrows is making some progress then, as Heathy has got no rear wing. So Darren goes on to lap 3. And there's Joe Burrows. Let's go on board. So things have settled down now after the contact, and Darren is now coming round to go on to the final lap. Up and over the brow of the right hand corner, and there are tile stacks everywhere in this particular race. Onto the final lap. Let's find Heathy then, and interestingly, I think that may be a glitch, as Heathy's car looks undamaged, but previously we did see that he had no rear wing. Now it's reappeared, but you can believe me when I say that I very much doubt that rear wing should be there. Oh, Joe Burrows goes really wide, so he's in the gravel, just about to get away with it, and Heathy has come to a stop. So Stephen Heath's car has given up the ghost, and so that's a DNF for Heathy. There's no surprise there. But for Q2, Heat 2, Darren takes the win, and he was almost handed it with, unfortunately, Joe Burrows and Stephen Heath getting together a bit too much in that race. Joe Burrows is just about going to come away and finish this in second, but it's going to be a really, really slow time, so he's going to finish quite far down the pack, as Stephen Heath gets a DNF, so he'll get 0 points. In the end, Q2 is won by Darren after he gets the free run ahead of Joe and Heathy. Second is Mike Kuipers with Tom in third. Fourth is Harry, with fifth being Rob, and then Joe Burrows finishes at the back with Heathy not getting any points. After 2 qualifying sessions then, Tom is leading by 2 points with 18. Darren, Harry and Mike all joint second with 16, and with Rob next with 14. Joe Burrows is below with 9, and Heathy is down at the bottom with just 5 points after his DNF. On to Q3 then, Heat 1 with Harry and Tom at the front, Darren and Mike Kuipers at the back, and it's a poor start for Darren and a great start from Mike, who storms into the lead. Oh, Harry and Darren get together, and that's both of them facing the wrong way. Tom's facing the wrong way as well, so that means that Mike Kuipers goes into the lead on his own, with everyone else facing the wrong way behind him. So out of all that, Darren comes away in second, Harry is in third, and Tom is at the back. So the Team Redeem boys getting together at the start there. It's not going to go down well after the race, no doubt. Contact there with the tyre wall from Harry, who decides to go onto his Joker lap early days, and so he gets it out of the way. Tom is just going to come away behind him, so the two will be very close together. And there's Tom behind. So far a quiet one for Tom at the back. So a fair bit of work to do after he spun out. Whether there was contact with him and Mike remains to be seen, but so far this is good stuff from Mike, who's on lap 2. And Mike, as we've seen so far, seems to be really enjoying this type of circuit, as he's used to going sideways around most of the circuits in the touring cars, as we've seen in the past. So to be able to actually purposefully go around sideways is helping Mike get around this circuit. There's Darren in the background, with Harry just coming round and Tom just behind him. Less sideways from Tom. So Darren now fairly close to Mike, and could potentially catch him if he's quick enough. But still leading then is Mike, who continues to dominate this race and is now on his final lap. Let's check up on Tom and Harry, who have come together here. Look at this is fantastic racing. Oh, Tom not quite got round, and he's hit the wall. That was a shame, because it looked like they were having a great race. So Tom is pushed all the way down to last in this heat, and Tom, who's leading the current event here, is going to struggle to get some good points in this particular qualifier, as Mike Kuipers comes around the last few corners. Up over the right hand brow, turning sharp left and over the line. Mike Kuipers takes heat 3. Heat 1, sorry, of Q3, and Darren takes second. Harry Cook is going to come away just about here, looks like, as Tom was caught up again. Harry's going to come away with third. Tom's going to get fourth, but of course we need to see heat 2 before we find out who wins the qualifier overall. Mike gets the win then for Q3 heat 1, with Darren in second, Harry in third and Tom in fourth. But now let's go to Q3 heat 2. Okay then, Q3 heat 2, Heathy and Joe Burrows on the front row of the grid, so the rivalry continues with those two, and Rob Pellett at the back. So just 3 cars in this one. Rob gets a good move on Joe and actually takes the lead from Heathy, so Rob has got a great lead here in the second of the heats for Q3. A much cleaner start then between Heathy and Joe Burrows, and Heathy's on the inside of Rob in the next corner and actually cuts the corner. Oh, but he spins round. So Joe and Rob literally struggling to get the cars round. They have been there, as Heathy into the back of Rob as well, unfortunately. Looks like Rob's struggling. Has he got a problem? Potentially. And there was a fair bit of contact there between Heathy and Rob. Oh, and he's hit the tyre wall. That's a massive shame for Rob, and that's going to no doubt put his enthusiasm back down a level, as he made a great start. in this heat, but it's not to be for Rob. The luck continues. So Joe Burrows then has managed to get away from Heathy a little bit as he struggles to get that car facing the opposite way in those hairpins, and he's lost his front bumper now. More contact with those tyre barriers, and he goes on to lap 3 and actually goes into his joker lap. So Joe goes into the joker lap and Heathy's come round on the normal lap. Is it going to be a repeat? No, it's not. History doesn't repeat itself, and so Joe continues to hold the lead with Heathy in second. Rob is significantly behind now and really struggling. And Heathy, oh, there's contact again as Heathy makes a really robust move on Joe Burrows, and Joe goes really wide. So Heathy could get the heat win here for the first time, as he has still yet to get his first win. As he now has gapped Joe for a fair bit of distance. But it has come to light that unfortunately Stephen Heath has been given multiple penalties for his corner cutting in some of the corners, so he will lose the lead if he wins, as the two of them come round. Look at them both sideways, fantastic to watch. It's not quite the racing that you would expect, as it is wild, but it's great to watch. The rivalry between these two has been great to see so far, but actually Heathy's not going to get the win anyway, looks like, on the road. Oh my god, no, it's not to be. Heathy loses the lead, wouldn't have won anyway because of his penalties, but Joe Burrows gets the win. Heathy is second, and let's find out where Rob Pellet is. He's here. He's really struggling, and that's looking like it for Rob in this heat, as he has to... Oh no, he's still going. I think he's good. I was just about to say, is that a retirement? As Rob never giving up. The crowd are going wild watching him. No, I think he's retired. Joe gets the win in the heat then, with Heathy in second, and unfortunately Rob gets a DNF. At the end of Q3 then, Mike gets the win by some distance. Darren is second. Joe Burrows is third, with Tom in fourth. Harry in fifth, Heathy in sixth, and of course Rob doesn't score any points with his DNF. Mike takes the lead in the event then with 26 points. Tom and Darren now join in second with 25 each. Harry in third with 22. Then it's Joe, Rob with 14, and Heathy still at the bottom with just 10 points. Only one more qualifier then, with only one car that won't be allowed to race in the final. It's between Rob and Heathy for that final spot. Q4 Heat 1 then, the final qualifying heat for these four cars. Tom and Mike at the front with Joe Burrows and Darren behind, but it's a poor start for Tom, who's pushed down all the way to the back. Darren, Mike and Joe all together struggle to find their own space on the track, so Mike Kuipers gets into the lead. Tom is promoted up to second as Darren and Joe slow down dramatically there. Oh, there's contact between Darren and Tom, and that's slowed Tom and Darren down. Tom just about gets away with it, but Joe's got up to third, and Darren is definitely facing the wrong way there, so he's had to he's dropped down dramatically now. So let's head on board with Tom, and that's we can see as Mike Kuipers is yet again leading this qualifier. Tom, a very, very tight line there. He might be punished for that line through the Joker lap. But on to lap 2 then. Mike still leads with Joe still in third. And Darren's got some catching up to do here, and this will hurt Darren in the points. He's got to qualify, but it still goes towards the overall championship, and with Darren up there in the running, small mistakes like that will hurt. And that's contact there with Joe as he misjudges the corner. And let's head on to Darren's roof here. As we can see, that's how far Joe is away, so he's got some potential here to try and make up a space, as Joe is really unable to get round without hitting that wall. And Darren, a nice and tight venture through the Joker lab, and as you can see, the rain has started to drop here and the track has really begun to become quite wet. So a change in driving style, no doubt, as Darren is continuing to try and catch up with Joe. Tom is still in second, and still a fair distance away from Mike Kuipers, who continues to dominate in this last qualifier. As Mike comes around, and the rain has only just been quite temporary. As we can see, the rain has stopped again, so it's just a small burst of rain, and the track's still a little bit wet, but will dry up very quickly. So Tom on to his last lap, and Darren here has got an opportunity to get past Joe Burrows. He goes on the outside onto the on the inside to the outside, and Darren gets third place, but Joe's not going to give up and really tries to get that position back, but it's not to be at the moment. Onto the wet part of the track, the difference between how dry it is to how wet it is, it's a stark contrast. And the two here having a great scrap. Oh, the car control to make sure that they don't make contact is great, but a little bit of a tap on the tyre wall. Fundamentally, Mike is going to take the win then. Tom is going to come away with second, and Darren is going to get third, with Joe Burrows taking fourth, no doubt. Unless he can do something here. Unfortunately not. So Darren's going to get third, and Joe will get fourth. Mike Kuipers takes another dominating win in the heat then, with Tom in second. Darren just finishes ahead of Joe Burrows, who finishes at the back in fourth. It's the final heat of the event then, Q4 Heat 2, and away they go. And of course this is an important heat for the qualifications to the final, with only one car not making it. It's between Heathy in the blue Ford Focus RSRX and Rob Pellet in the back in the Mercedes A-Class. So Harry Cook is already through, but still has to do the heat here, so no pressure on Harry, but he is currently leading, and that's a mistake from Heathy, and he shortcuts the track as well. So interestingly, that's definitely going to be looked at. So Rob Pellet takes the lead, but Heathy will no doubt have a penalty. So watching these two for the last qualifying position is going to go down to the line potentially, and Heathy now under real pressure for actually losing the space due to that corner cut. On board with Rob, as you can see, Harry is making some great headway at the front, and is comfortably leading this race, leaving it to Heathy and Rob to battle it out in a last place scrap. Heathy's not too far away, so has the potential here. And Rob is just about holding on, and it could, at the moment, looks like it's going to be Rob's to overtake. Oh, there's contact. There's massive contact. And there was an accident there from Heathy, who's pushed Rob into the tyre wall. And where is Rob? So Rob is, unfortunately, he's still going. So the stewards will probably look at that. Unfortunately, Rob here, this is really controversial. Meanwhile, Harry leads on lap 3, and everything else is going on behind him, and he can actually put in a really quick time here to try and win the qualifier overall, and which will help him with points, especially as this is his first event, and it's actually a pretty successful first event for Harry in the Rallycross, joining in with Darren after 2 rounds. And hopefully he can get some more points at the next round in the adjusted calendar of Lowiak. Meanwhile, further back then, Heathy still leads, and Rob Pellet is still going. So this definitely will be looked at after the race, and penalties could be applied, especially as it's down to the final place in the final itself. So here comes Harry then, around on the last lap, up to the tight right hander, into the left hander, and he crosses the line to take Q4 Heat 2. Heathy is going to cross the line, and he will take second, but he could be reprimanded for that contact with Rob Pellet. And Rob's made a mistake, and he's struggling here, and now he's in the tyre wall. So some shocking last lap instances for Rob here. And unfortunately, Rob retires. So let's watch this incident again between Rob and Heathy. Heathy just goes way too quick. Oh, look at that. Just completely takes Rob out. Harry Cook gets the quickest time of the Q4 then for the maximum 10 points. Just ahead of Mike in second, with Tom in third, Darren in fourth. Joe Burrows gets fifth, with Heathy in sixth after a penalty was applied, but unfortunately Rob didn't finish. He gets 0 points anyway. After all 4 qualifying sessions then, Mike Kuipers comes out on top with 35 points, only 2 points ahead of Tom with 33. Darren and Harry are joint in third with 32 each, and then it's Joe Burrows with 23. Heathy gets 15 with Rob on 14 after he hits the DNF. So unfortunately Rob doesn't qualify into the final race. Okay, here it is. It's the final of the Hockenheim ring round of the KTRX series, and away they go. Darren and Heathy closely into the first corner. They get round nice and cleanly, as does everyone else. Just about. Tom nearly going off into the gravel there, but it's a Focus 1, 2, 3 here with 2 Team Redeem cars, and that's Heathy going off into the gravel. So Team Redeem take the lead in their 2 RSRX Focuses. Up third then is Joe Burrows. We've got Mike Kuipers, Heathy and Tom at the back. So it's a good start for Redeem then, and great for team points. Let's go on board with Mike. Let's go on board with Heathy. Oh, contact! Heathy pushes Mike into the corner, and everyone else, Constantina's up. Joe Burrows is there as well, and Heathy goes straight into the tyre wall there. It is chaos at the back. And more contact from Heathy, and he is literally the centre point of all the contact so far. So I do wonder whether the stewards will look at some of the contact coming into the next round at Lowiak in a few weeks' time. So Darren and Harry continue to lead then, and they don't need to do anything stupid here, as the team points finish will be fantastic. As of course, unfortunately, Harry wasn't able to attend the first few races. So Tom and Mike Kuipers are quite close together here, and it's looking fairly clean so far. Oh, a little bit of contact there from Mike, but Tom recovers into the wall. Mike goes into the Joker lap then. Tom is quite close to Harry, so maybe Harry's made a mistake here as Mike comes out of the Joker lap behind Tom. And Tom, look how close he is to Harry. So Tom runs wide. There's Mike, and he's got the overtake done, so Mike is up to third now. Tom is down to fourth. Oh, a little bit of contact. Tom recovers well, and just about stays on the back of Mike. Joe Burrows and Heathy have been dropped off this pack a little bit as Tom and Mike continue to fight. As Harry is a little bit under threat here. Darren has been in his Joker lap, so the pack has really bunched up a little bit. So Darren still leads then. Harry's gone really wide into the next corner, but he's got Mike behind him. So it's a great four-way tussle here for the final, as it is lap 4 of 6. So it is 6 laps, so there's a little bit further to go than the normal. Look at that from Harry. Great driving, drift around the corner, but Darren still continues to lead then. Oh, and they've gone into each other. So, Darren's gone into Mike. He's gone into Darren. So in the lead then is Harry and Tom. So unbelievably, the two Team Redeem cars get together yet again. And Darren has lost the lead of the race. So Harry Cook is now leading with Tom right close to him. This final is really kicking off here. Mike is quite close as well to potentially taking the lead. So it's down to 3 for this final. As Darren, look at Darren, he's got some distance to catch up. And that's looks like that's Heathy who has retired. So Heathy's out of the question. More contact between Harry and Tom then. So Mike goes into the lead of the race. Harry is very close to him as they all go round the tight hairpins. This is great racing. If a little... Oh, more contact. Then that's Harry out of the question. He's been spun out by Mike. Mike spins as well. So Tom leads this race. Darren goes back up to seconds. This is really kicking off here. Tom could come away with the win as he goes through the next few corners onto the last lap of the race. So Darren, could he catch up with Tom to retake that lead and to take the win? Tom smoking the tyres up, and he looks slow as Darren seems to be catching him quite quickly here. Can Tom hold it together, deal with the pressure, take his first final win of the event of the season, or can Darren get that win back again? Oh, Tom's gone onto the grass and slightly slides out, but regains control. So it's closer than ever now between Tom and Darren. Tom again struggling. Oh, he's just not quite getting the car in control. Round it goes. It's more like he's drifting round the corners. Tom and Darren get together into the next left-hander. Tom's got the inside. He still leads then. And he's got just 2 more corners to take the win. Round the right-hander. Oh, but he's in the gravel. And no, he's not going to do it. Darren takes the win. Tom gets caught on the tyre barrier. And he's going to take second, I think. Or is he? I think Mike's taken second as Tom takes third. Tom takes third. Harry is somewhere, or is Harry retired? So I think, the Harry's retired. Joe Burrows has retired, and Heathy also retires from the race. So it's just 3 who finish then at a chaotic but fantastic final here at Hockenheim Ring. Darren gets his 3rd ever final win, then just ahead of Mike, with Tom eventually finishing in 3rd. Harry, Joe and Heathy all retire from the race. Coming away from round 3 then, Darren leads with 123 points, Tom on 116, with Mike Kuipers closely catching with 79, Joe Burrows on 67, 1 point ahead of Heafy on 66, Rob is on 42 with Harry Cook on 32, and Callum Baker, who wasn't here for this round, on 31 behind Harry. In the teams then, TR Racing still leading, but by only just by 3 points. 158 with Team Redeem scoring really well here at Hockenheim with 155. MC Racing struggling just further down with 110.